It was kind of hard finding a decent article for this one.
I had a really hard time finding an article, and even mine is talking about, well, I found one that talks, well, I guess we can talk about it when we get going. Do you want me to go ahead and read mine?
Sure.
Okay. So this was an article that was published on October 4th, and Terry Bollea, I think his name is, also known as Hulk Hogan. He sued Gawker Media LLC and its founder, Nick Denton. The judgment sided with Bollea, and he was awarded $130 million for a sex tape that Gawker published back in 2012. Gawker, the owner, Denton, and a former editor were determined to be jointly liable for $115 million of the judgment. Denton was found to be personally liable for an additional $10 million. Both Gawker Media and Denton have since filed for bankruptcy. As part of the company bankruptcy, Bollea's lawyers... Preston! I'm sorry, the dog is whining to get out. Okay, so as part of the company bankruptcy, Bollea's lawyers have requested that the liquidation proceeds not be distributed until the appeal case with Bollea is settled and he is paid if necessary. So that's kind of what I was concerned about, is that it did show that he was personally liable. And I know on an LLC, or from what we read, that's not normal. So I was kind of confused. So I had to do some more research just to understand the situation. Mm-hmm. So what I found is that although normally owners are not held personally liable under an LLC, well, actually, I wrote this before and did all the research before I read Chapter 16, where it talks about a couple of exceptions. Mm-hmm. One of the exceptions was when LLC owner, they can be held personally liable if they personally and directly injure someone during the course of business due to their negligence, or intentionally do something fraudulent, illegal, or reckless that causes harm to the company or to someone else. And so it was found that that was actually an exception to the LLC, the way it was set up, the way he was held liable because he leaked court documents from the trial, which were supposed to be secretive. And it caused Bollea to actually lose his job. Mm-hmm. So that's all I could find. I don't know if that really has anything to do with the structure. I was thinking, since the way LLCs are supposed to protect, not make owners liable, that's the way they're set up. But it even goes against the normal, so I don't know.
Well, I can even make a really good quiz question too, because since it's abnormal, there's that whole thing that you mm-hmm. mess with too, essentially.
Yeah. Well, see, and I felt kind of foolish because I wrote all of this, before I read that section in Chapter 16, and it actually was very specific that the LLCs also follow some of those exceptions. Mm-hmm. And so, but I guess that's what they mean by limited liability. There's still cases in which they are liable for things.
No, that's very true, because I know when I was searching, I kept finding all of these LLCs that were selling stock, and I'm like, huh? That doesn't sound right. So a lot of those I just kind of breezed past, but I'm like, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know what that would mean. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, but what I found, the title of the article is "The New Way to Own Residential Real Estate Investments." Um, Sort of what I wrote just kind of goes over the article, doesn't it? Sort of gives an example, but not really. But anyways, I said this article explains the reason for creating a LLC for a real estate invest. Or yeah, this article explains the reason for creating an LLC for a real estate investment company. Some of the advantages include non-investment assets of the owners are protected. Negative is acquiring funding with an LLC business is difficult. Banks do not like lending to LLCs, and there is no equity to sell for cash. And kind of picking apart the article after I wrote it, of course, uh, it said specifically there's, um, let's see what it says specifically that I guess an LLC, if it's created and they're the landlord, they don't have as many responsibilities as, say, just one single person being the landlord over um, house or something. So
Uh-huh.
there's that in that if you set up your investment as an LLC, then there's certain things you don't necessarily have to do that others would.
Hmm. Okay. I didn't realize that.
But I think at least for this, I think yours would work better just because
All right.
the quiz question and whatnot. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to do.
So I created a quick Google Doc,
Oh, okay.
and so if you want to go ahead, I haven't filled anything out. Now my explanation is very long, so I'll just put everything on there. I'm just going to copy and paste the whole thing, and then we can edit it and try and make it a little.
No, that works. I it says that I have to wait for your approval.
Oh, how do I do that?
I don't know. I just generally do the shareable link, and anyone with the link can.
Well, that's what I thought I did before. Huh. Okay, so it says that I've shared with one person, but I don't know how to make it you know, public or anything like that. But see if you get an email because it asks for an email.
Yeah, I just sent an email. Looks like there we go. This looks like it's it. Well, it's the template.
Yeah, that's all that's on there right now.
Okay. That doesn't show you.
Doesn't it
Oh,
show that I'm on there?
yeah, well, it shows that you made a change to it. It's just not.
Oh, I wonder if I tried. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to make it public or whatever so you can get
I
there.
think I can change it too. Let me put your name into who participated.
I started and then you said you couldn't get in, so I'm going, oh.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I think we're both in and we're both.
Yep.
Okay, so let me go ahead and paste the story, and we can cut hopefully about 90% of it. I'm just going to put it all up there, and then we'll... Okay, so that's where we started. I guess we don't need any of the article information.
See, I wonder if there's some of... So that's full story. We can put part of it in the explanation of the example.
Yeah. So what kind of quiz question are you thinking of for this? Do you want to just kind of say, considering this is an, Gawker is an LLC, is it possible that Denton can be personally liable? Or, just have like 2 yeses and 2 nos, but different reasoning? Or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we could do something like that. I know I also saw, at least I thought I saw, the capability of some groups being able to do multiple right answers. At least it seemed like it on some of the reviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could even do just simple yes, or even just do like why in this case can Gawker be, or the founder Nick Denton, how can he be sued personally?
Okay. I'll work on the quiz question then.
Okay.
So since I know the file or the situation a little bit better, why don't you go through the actual example, track what is, because it's probably more important that you understand it, because I, of course, know in my mind what I'm meaning to say. Sometimes I wonder if she watches it, and because she can't see the video, all she sees is us just kind of in silence. Well, that's got to be boring.
Well, I don't know if she even watches all of it. She may just watch bits and pieces because she's got so many groups she has to go over.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
that
they're all a half an hour, 45 minutes, and there's 13 groups or something. That would suck.
And that's if she doesn't have any other sections.
Yeah.
Another section, she's looking at 13, 14 hours just on video.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think for the example, could get rid of the bankruptcy because that doesn't...
It's not pertinent.
Yeah. And it's not bad, but at least for the case of being able to be sued, bankruptcy doesn't have anything to do with
it. Oh, actually. Do you think the correct answer should just be, like I've got, how is it possible for founder Nick Denton to be personally liable when Gawker Media is organized as a limited liability company? Is that the question we want to go with?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So do we want our correct answer just to be that they can be personally liable? Do you want to bring in that pierce the corporate veil thing?
Pierce the corporate veil.
Do you remember that? It's on page 360.
Well, I've got the Kindle edition, so pages.
Oh, okay.
Help me, but I vaguely remember it. I'm not sure you'd have to even do that because I kind of see sort of what I cut off for the explanation of the example that can be used for like the correct answer feedback, sort of. I'm not sure the feedback at least works just yet because that's kind of
Yeah.
shooting us into a specific answer, maybe. Because you could say, um, being sued for libel isn't included in the protections of an LLC, something like that.
So normally they are protected. Like you can't go after their personal assets.
Well, you could say for the correct answer, um, being sued for injuries isn't protected under the LLC or something like that. I know that's at least just what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, that well, the only I think that's a good answer, but of course, I mean, I wonder if everybody would know that because.
Well, it doesn't matter whether or not they know it offhand. I mean, it is a quiz question. It doesn't have
We
to
can look it up.
that it's correct.
You know what? Let's add when negligence or fraud.
Okay.
Because that's actually talked about this specifically in the book. So that might help a little.
That's true. That's a good point.
Okay. So what kind of wrong is this answer, correct answer feedback? Okay. Or do you think we need to go into more of like what's up above?
Let me see if there's.
Because I could take this exact quote.
Right. I wonder if there's a quote exactly like that in the book, because I know the teacher would probably.
That's true.
Like that more if that came out of the book. Not that she cares of our explanation necessarily. Although I guess if we find it for the one, it wouldn't hurt to do it for the other.
So this, because it's when they're talking about pierce the corporate veil.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we could, so it says the courts will disregard the corporate entity. It says since a corporation is a legal entity separate from its shareholders. Oh, actually. Okay, so there, after they talk about the corporate, piercing the corporate veil, there is a thing that talks about LLCs. It says, although usually LLCs are not expected to have as much legal formality as corporations do, in other respects for LLCs, piercing the veil to hold members liable for entity debts tends to track the law of corporations, meaning it mirrors the same laws as corporations. Do you want me to just type that in there?
Yeah, we could do that.
Here, I'll type it out and then you can read it.
Okay.
And see if that makes sense. Whoops, I don't know how to spell. Okay, that's what is in the book. I can put a comma in there, I guess.
Yeah. I don't see why that works. Although I think I would still leave what we have in the explanation of the.
Oh, leave it that up above?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I have that for that, but at least that ties it to the book.
Right.
And I would hope, at least her seeing all of this, that she'll understand we tried to
Tie it in, yeah. Okay. All right. So for my first wrong answer, I've just put there was an error in the judgment. LLCs protect members from personal liability of company debt.
Yeah.
I don't know. What other wrong answers could we put on there?
Um, hmm. I'm thinking. Um,
Oh, you know what we could do? Could we say, okay, so an LLC, okay, let me think. So could we say something like an LLC, and because Denton was the founder of the LLC, he and the company are one entity? I mean, for a limited liability, I guess. I mean, you have members, so that wouldn't be right, would it? Do you know what I mean? Do you get where I'm trying to go
yeah,
with
no,
it?
I kind of see what you mean because I,
I don't know how to word it, but
yeah, because I'm trying to remember. I think you can even set up a LLC just with one person. Not that we know whether or not there are other
right.
partners in this specific case. Um,
Well, I mean, I guess as far as like a tax form, I mean, the limited liability, it does go with, like if I had an LLC, it would go, I mean, the taxes are of the company are tied to me though, right? It's
depends.
not like its own entity like a corporation, correct?
Yeah, it just depends how you take out the money
Right.
that adds all the funness to taxes with LLCs. Me having
Oh,
done taxes with those.
I
Those
guess what we could say is another wrong answer is that, you know, LLCs don't protect them at all. So, do you,
ooh, I know. This is one that kind of goes back to the other one. Say there are exceptions to make the founder specifically liable. Guess
oh,
you're,
there you go. Just him, just the founder.
yeah,
Okay, that's a good one.
I mean, it's wrong
Okay,
answer. It doesn't have to make full sense,
right.
but there we go.
Okay, read my wrong answer number 2. Tell me what you think of that one.
Let's see. Yeah. that one I would hope people can pick off in nothing flat, but
Well, I would think that one would be pretty clear because that's actually one of the benefits of it that we read about, that most of the time they're not
right.
liable. So I think if we're saying it never protects them, they really should catch it on two different levels. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and especially with the word always,
Right.
even tie it to it's called a limited liability, so there is some, but
Right.
or actually you could even almost change the answer to um, an LLC always protects the owners. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of what our wrong answer was, number one. The LLC, I guess I could put always.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just apparently not thinking straight today.
You know, it's so funny because I would think these quiz questions would be really easy, and they're harder than I.
Well, I think it depends on the situation, what topic we have, and what good example we have. I mean, some of them have been fairly easy, but
Yeah.
I agree. This one, it's kind of like, okay, there's only so much I can stretch an LLC for.
Uh-huh. Okay, so what do you think of my feedback, or my wrong answer number two, and my feedback for wrong answer number two? Whoops, I didn't finish.
Yeah, the answer itself is good.
Okay, what about this one? Okay, now for the feedback. Or should I just create just liability? Or I mean, or should we even just say protection, liability protection?
Yeah, I'd go with liability protection more. Um,
You know, I was thinking on your wrong number three, we could just say the founder of an LLC is liable. We don't even have to make it an exception if you don't want to.
mm, yeah, we could get rid of exceptions.
You know, I'm not saying we have to. I was just saying if we wanted to.
Oh, no, I just kind of like throwing in the exception because the whole question is basically going over an exception to what normally is a protection for an LLC. Not that it's necessarily an exception, it's just people think you're protected by an LLC, but this is a case where you aren't.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you there.
So, but other than that, I think
I think that's good, huh?
yeah. Can't think of anything else to add.
All right. Okay, well, then I guess we can go ahead and stop the recording. Do you want to submit the assignment and post the video? What would you like me to do?
How about you submit the assignment and I can post the video. Once I end this, I'll put the link on here so that way you have it.
So I think you can stop oh, wait. No, I don't know. I think if you stop recording, I think it will give you a link and we can still talk even if it's not recording, but I could be wrong.
Well, we'll try that.